We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
The Diamondbacks franchise rose from the desert in 1998, clothed in purple and teal, playing under the hot Arizona sun, yet boasting a glorious pool and a retractable roof. 1998 was the start of an amazing run.
Diamondbacks are on the board with their first drive.
As the years rolled on, the stars of Arizona baseball shone brightly. Incredible moments.
Mark Grace in his return to Wrigley Field.
Priceless memories. One incredible night. Tonight, we honor Diamondbacks past while celebrating the future of this proud franchise. Players will don the purple and teal. Fans will look back and smile. Welcome to Throwback Thursday.
At home in Arizona, welcome to Chase Field. It's July in Arizona, nice and cool inside. The atmosphere draped in purple on this Throwback Thursday. The final home series before the All-Star break, and the D-backs are dressed in the old-school purple uniforms for tonight's game against the Rockies. It's Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. It's a Throwback Thursday. The purple is in place. And good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. It is the first of four here. Purple all over the field, in fact, for the Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. The final home series, Bob, of the season's first half. A chance here to make a move before the All-Star break.
We got some games left within the division here this weekend and go on the road next week to Texas and New York. You see the standings in the National League West going into play. I think the entire division is going to regret the month of June. The Dodgers played .500 ball. They were 15-15 and actually gained ground on everybody in the division.
So 4 against the Rockies, and then one more road trip before the All-Star break. When you're dealing with Colorado, Bob, as we found out last week, you deal with Nolan Arenado.
Oh, man, this guy is one of the best players in the game already at a tender young age. He's red hot right now. He's a guy you're definitely going to have to keep an eye on in this series.
47 RBIs in his last 37 games. He's becoming one of the best players in the game, alongside Troy Tulowitzki, who's on a hot streak right now.
Pretty strong left side of the infield, both offensively and defensively, for the Colorado Rockies.
So we're set for first pitch here at Chase Field. Coming up, Nick Ahmed back out there for the boys in purple tonight. The Sedona Red takes a break. We go Throwback Thursday. Jody Jackson talks with the Diamondbacks shortstop. Coming up, then it's first pitch here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Thursday as the Diamondbacks open up a 4-game weekend series this July 4th weekend here in downtown Phoenix. Jody Jackson with you here just outside the dugout. And a lot of things to watch for in this series, including some slick infielders like Nolan Arenado over at third base for the Rockies. And how about Nick Ahmed? Of course, we know what he can do at shortstop. But what about the hitting of late? Dodgers series, 5 for 12 with 2 home runs. And he's hitting .346 off of lefties, which is good for 7th in the National League. But as for the power, including one that went opposite field, I asked Nick how the power game is coming when he's feeling at the plate.
Just getting better as a hitter. Told those guys earlier, it's just kind of a byproduct, I think, of becoming a better hitter, learning more about myself, and just getting better pitches to hit, not chasing as many pitches out of the zone, getting into good hitters counts, and when I do, I'm looking to take my best swing on them and really drive the ball.
And patience pays for Nick, who has just continued to get better and better after a rough start at the plate this season. Well, tonight, Nolan Arenado, he leads the majors in RBIs, and he's got 24 home runs. Not far behind is our own Paul Goldschmidt. What a matchup as these sluggers face off tonight here in downtown Phoenix.
Rockies will complete a run of 16 straight games against NL West opponents so far. Nick Ahmed and company only 5-7 during this divisional stretch, having lost series to the Rockies, the Padres, and the Dodgers. So set here for course correction tonight in the final home series before the All-Star break. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher on this Throwback Thursday, Jeremy Hellickson, who faces the Rockies for the first time in his career. The scouting report for Colorado from Nolan Arenado.
He's got a good changeup. He's got good pitches. I don't know too much. I don't know if I want to give it away too much, but he's a good pitcher, and it's going to be a battle. And he can hit us when he's on. He hits his spots, and hopefully we can get some pitches up. And he's known for keeping the ball down, and that's why he's good. But just going to try to hit the ball hard, and we'll see what happens.
The numbers on Jeremy this year, the changeup and the curveball have been increasingly effective as the season has gone on. The strikeout totals have gone up with that.
And therefore, it all ties into his fastball command. His curveball, as you said, has been really good lately. The changeup has consistently been good for him all year. The ability to spot that fastball in and out, up and down against this dangerous Rockies lineup will be the key to his outing tonight.
Yeah, you said it, Bob. A dangerous lineup as always, and it always seems with Colorado. They are among the league leaders in hitting and among the basement dwellers in pitching. And it's that way again here this season. Charlie Blackmon, their bearded leadoff man, is in there, and we're underway. First of 4. The Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. Jim Reynolds is our plate umpire, and there's ball 1. Blackmon 273 and 10 homers. A 104 degrees outside in downtown Phoenix, and a very comfortable 81 here with the roof and panels closed at Chase Field.
I did a radio show today back to Denver. A friend of mine back there at a local radio station in Denver, and when I came on the air a couple minutes late, that was fouled off down the right field line. I said, I'm sorry, my tires melted to the street. Really? Well, it just felt like it. Very, very hot outside, very comfortable inside. This is the way we like it.
Blackmon has been a problem for the Diamondbacks this year, hitting over 350 versus Arizona. 2 balls and a strike. That's in there. I hope you complain to him about their weather.
They have weather?
I hadn't noticed.
Gee. The grounds crew having a well-deserved week off here while the Rockies are on the road.
Those guys must be exhausted. This is popped up along the left field line. Aaron Hill is calling for it in foul ground, and that's the first out. A lineup for Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies.
Seeing Charlie Blackmon at the top. He'll be out in center field. Troy Tulowitzki is shortstop. Carlos Gonzalez, a rare sighting, out in right field tonight. Nolan Arenado, the young superstar, down at third base. Ben Paulson at first base. U of A product Nick Hundley behind the plate. Daniel Descalso filling in for DJ LeMahieu at second base. Chris Russin, the pitcher, batting 8th. And Brandon Barnes, the left fielder, batting 9th.
And here is Troy Tulowitzki rolling right now. One of the hottest bats in baseball. And there's strike 1 from Jeremy. Tulo 320 at 8 homers. He's 5th in the league in hitting. But he's up over 380 during a streak that's now up to 14 straight. Fly ball to center field. A.J. Pollock. Seven pitches, 2 outs for Hellickson. A look at the defense around the Diamondback right-hander here tonight.
David Peralta in left, A.J. Pollock out in center field, Yasmani Tomas in right field, Aaron Hill and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield with Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Check that, Aaron Hill is now on the right side. Wellington Castillo doing the catching for right-hander Jeremy Hellickson.
Aaron running over there from his third base spot to stand next to second base umpire Paul Schreiber because the shift is on for Cargo, who's back in action for the Rockies, Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez 245 and 10 home runs, and coming off a 2-hit game yesterday in their 4-1 loss at Oakland. Of course, when we were in Colorado last week, we did not see Cargo at the plate. He was dealing with a left hand sprain, but he's back in there. In fact, had a 5-for-5 day at San Francisco last week when they opened this road trip. We've seen better command from Jeremy Hellickson as the season has gone on. He's walked more than 2 batters in a ball game, only twice in his last 13 starts, and working on a nice quick 1-2-3 first. 1-2 to Cargo.
That's a good spot right there. You'd say, well, that pitch bounced in the dirt. How can that be a good spot? But a 1-2 count to an aggressive hacking hitter in Carlos Gonzalez. That's right where you want to put that changeup when you're ahead in the count.
Got him. Jeremy Hellickson sets down the side in order. We are just underway in downtown Phoenix. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Ford starting pitcher for the Rockies. It's left-hander Chris Russin. He's won just once in his last 4 starts. A scouting report now from Diamondbacks hitting coach Turner Ward.
You know, he's a strike thrower. You know, he's a young pitcher that, you know, of course, I think is still developing. He's got a fastball, cutter, you know, slider, changeup, and you know, he's a guy which I would say against most pitchers, that, you know, is kind of has to have to be his command. And you know, for us, it's kind of stick with our game plan and stay with our approach, and that's always usually the biggest key when anytime we're going into a series or facing a pitcher.
Well, the numbers on Chris Russin: 4.69, 7 appearances, 6 starts. Doesn't walk very many batters, but he does tend to get hit.
He's been on that shuttle for the Chicago Cubs the last 3 years, up and down between AAA Iowa and the big leagues several times in each one of those 3 seasons. He was a waiver claim here by the Rockies, and you'll see lots of 2-seam sinkers, lots of cutters, straight changeup, and an occasional slider.
Nick Ahmed set to lead it off. Nick batting .237 and 6 home runs. And a good choice for the leadoff spot tonight because he's been hitting the ball very well lately, the last 6 weeks or so. He's also hitting nearly .350 this season against left-hand pitching. Ender and Ciarte still on the DL, and they're going to be very cautious with Ender coming off that hamstring injury. So it's Ben Chip Hill just kind of basically ham and egging it in the leadoff spot, and sure enough, Nick rolls it into right, a base hit. He's now got 15 hits in his last 13 games.
Nice approach right there. The Rockies are playing a little bit of a mini shift. The second baseman, Daniel Del Scalzo, you can see him shaded up the middle of the field, and Nick Ahmed just takes that pitch and guides it through the right side for a leadoff base hit.
Now be careful over there. Remember last night against the Dodgers, after Ahmed and Pollock both had singles to lead off the Diamondback first, and both were picked off.
2 singles and a walk in the first inning and got nothing out of it. Hard to believe.
Hard to do. AJ 309 home runs. And AJ Pollock coming off that 3-hit night last night against the Dodgers. This is where Chip Hale likes him, in the 2-hole in the lineup. That guy can hit anywhere. Third is good, though.
Get him! Yes!
Close.
One of the disadvantages of having a right-handed throwing first baseman on those pickoff attempts, it takes him just a little bit longer to get that tag back down to the bag, obviously, because he's got the glove on the left arm. He's got a lot farther to go to apply the tag.
Ben Paulson down there. They are without Justin Morneau, who is still on the DL with concussion-like symptoms. They're also missing Corey Dickerson, their very talented left fielder. He's on the DL with a foot injury. 0-1 to Pollock.
And we talked about the you got to call him a mistake. That's all you can really call him. The first one, this is Nick reaching on an infield hit, a high chopper to Brett Anderson. He was able to leg it out there at first base, but then got thrown out attempting to steal. And then this play just can't happen. A.J. Pollock rounded the bag too far at first, and A.J. Ellis snuck in behind him. And when there's Manny Tomas, it's tagged out at first base. That's it.
It's a tough inning. 0-2.
And we had just talked about how the Diamondbacks have been working on their leads over there at first base, trying to get jumps, and had to be aggressive against the Dodgers, but that first inning was a little over aggressive.
Dave McKay, I'm sure, has not seen much of that. Manny Gonzalez, the first base umpire down there. Still 0-2 on AJ. There goes Ahmed. Unleashed throw, kicks into center field. Nick will have to stay put, though. He went in head first.
a good jump, reading the ball in the dirt. Yeah, Nick didn't wait till the ball got away from Nick Hundley. He just took off when he saw it was going to be in the dirt.
They rule it a wild pitch, not a stolen base.
A little bit of a risk right there. If Hundley happens to pick that ball cleanly out of the dirt, you're probably out by a wide margin at second base. But if he has any trouble retrieving that ball, you're probably going to make it.
1-2 count now with Ahmed at second. Popped him up first base side, foul ground. Long run for Paulson who gets there. And that's the first out. Here's Goldie.
First baseman, number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
Paul Goldschmidt hitting .350. That ties him with the Marlins' D. Gordon for the Major League lead. He is 3 behind Nolan Arenado for the Major League RBI lead.
Talk a lot about protection in a batting order, and A.J. Pollock is the guy who's really benefited from the protection of Goldie.
I bet you.
The numbers are much better for A.J. when he bats in that 2 spot. And for that matter, they're better for Goldie when A.J. bats in the 2 spot. And Goldie's got great numbers no matter who hits in front of him or behind him, but he's hitting about 60 points higher when A.J.'s batting in the 2 spot than anybody else.
Does the guy ahead of Goldie get pitched to as well as the guy behind him?
I think the guy ahead of him, AJ, you're going to get a lot of strikes. You know, especially in a situation like this where there's a base open, you're going to go right after AJ Pollock and try to retire him, throwing strikes as best you can to give yourself the option of pitching around Goldie with first base open.
And then Tomas inherits whatever's left. And that's worked out very nicely this year. Goldie ahead 2-0. That's in there for a strike. Done his share of damage here against Colorado. Ahmed bluffed too much, and he got himself picked off for the second night in a row. He broke toward third. Russin never did deliver the pitch, and Ahmed was a dead duck. That's a caught stealing, 1-4 on the putout.
It was a caught stealing last night at second base, but that was also a pickoff at first last night when Nick got thrown out. Once again, we've talked about the Diamondbacks and how they've been working on their base running, working on their jumps at second and at first. And it reminds me when we used to play against the Dodgers, and every so often Maury Wills would show up early and take their base stealers out and walk them around first base, second base, third base, talking about leads and this and that. We would pitch out a lot on the days that Maury Wills showed up at the ballpark because the players all wanted to try to put into play what they'd practiced that afternoon.
Base hit for Goldie, belts it into center. And sure enough, there are some growing pains for the Diamondbacks on the bases last couple of days.
Been doing such a good job all year of being aggressive, of being smartly aggressive on the bases, just a little over anxious in the last couple of ball games.
107 miles an hour right back up the box. And a base running discussion or two I'm sure will pop up again tonight. Yasmani Tomas now 319 and 4 homers. coming off a 2-hit night last night. Now, how might you talked about the way A.J. Pollock would get pitched to, batting ahead of Goldie? Does the same apply to Yasmani Tomas batting behind him?
Well, not quite so much. You know, usually it's the guy behind you in the order that will determine the quality of pitches that you get in your at bat. But what Goldie will do, being on base, is offer a distraction to Chris Russin, and that could possibly create some mistakes in that strike zone.
15 for 19 in his stolen base attempts. Goldie. There's a little dribbler to Arenado. That Gold glove down at third throws him out. And we are scoreless through 1 at Chase Field. Has led off the Diamondbacks first inning with a single and then being picked off bases, so it's conversation time again.
Always a teaching moment here at the major league level. We heard Mike Harkey talk about it last night. Chip Hale talks about it all the time. With young players, you got to suffer through some growing pains and try to nip it in the bud. And I'll tell you, Dave McKay takes it personally. He feels just as bad, if not worse, than Nick Ahmed for getting picked off out there at second base. He takes great pride in his ability to teach good, sound, fundamental base running.
Well, Jeremy Hellickson found fundamentally out there on the mound. His fourth, the 1-2-3 first inning of the season. This is his 16th start, and now he'll work to Nolan Arenado to lead off the second.
Watch that first pitch. 6 first pitch homers this year for Arenado of his 24.
Saw the 288 average, 24 homers, already a career high. He's leading the major leagues with those 68 RBIs. And just about the hottest hitter on the planet right now. How about these numbers?
Eek.
He's feeling it right now.
Well, and you know those people that make the argument that, yeah, well, he plays in Coors Field. 15 of his homers have come on the road, 9 at home, and he's hitting for the same average on the road as he is at Coors Field.
So take that.
Take that.
2-1. Platoon splits. He's not a Coors Field creation by any stretch. And he's just 24 years old. And already with 2 gold gloves in his pocket. And he drives it toward the pool in right center. It rolls all the way to the wall, and Nolan Arenado rolls into second with his 18th double. Well, he just had a 17-game hitting streak end yesterday. And he started a new one here tonight.
He's just such an advanced hitter for his age. I I mean, that ball's on the outer third of the plate. Not a horrible pitch, and he absolutely drives it into that gaping right center field. Some guys just look like they've been playing in the big leagues forever. Nolan Arenado is one of those guys, and he's just getting started.
Ben Paulson. .292 and 5 homers. Big swing at that one. 0-1. Jeremy gets that curveball and that changeup work, and you'll see a lot of swings just like that.
Ben Paulson has found himself playing a little left field this season on that last road trip to Denver. Took a home run away right there.
That was Chris Owings.
Yeah, CO making a bid for a home run, and Ben Paulson, a first baseman by trade, shows he can play a little outfield too.
That, and I remember that game because that would have made it, I believe, 3-1 Diamondbacks. It stayed 2-1, and then Colorado, after that catch in the home half of the inning, suddenly got red hot offensively. That play seemed to really turn things around for them in that ball game.
Real momentum shifter, taking a home run away.
Over the head of Stu Cole at third. 1-2 now. Yeah, Paulson has had a steady amount of playing time lately given the injuries. They've had to both Corey Dickerson in left and Justin Morneau in first. One-two pitch. Got him. Second strikeout for Hellickson. One down in the second. Boy, Ben Paulson just does not like facing the Diamondbacks. He's now 2 for 20 career versus Arizona.
Could possibly be the proliferation of that changeup up and down the Diamondbacks rotation, and that's a pitch that's really tough for Ben Paulson to stay back on. He is constantly geared for that fastball.
Nick Hundley now, the catcher. The U of A Wildcat back in Arizona. And he's done a terrific job this year with the Rockies. Just under 300 with 6 home runs. Strike one. And in fact, Hundley's already passed his home run and RBI total from all of last season.
You want to talk about a guy that's going to be beat down by the end of the season, though. Whoever it is that catches for the Colorado Rockies. Yeah. You know, because by the end of the season, that team ERA is probably going to be well north of 5, if not even higher. And, catchers take a lot of that upon themselves.
And he's really taken over that job, Bob. He has started nearly 60 games already this season behind the plate.
You want to talk about a night and day upgrade over Willeen Rosario behind the plate. Rosario, a very good offensive player, but Nick Hundley is a really good catcher.
There's Willeen Rosario, the Bull, not in the starting lineup. He's a first baseman this year. Has not caught a game this season, either in the majors or the minors. 1-1 pitch. Wellington Castillo out to the mound now. Hey fans, while we have a moment, we remind you now it's time to get us your fan photo. Yes, it's back. The Friendly Committee back in session. Use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan. And you just might see yourself at an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. So tweet us your fan photos. And the Friendly Committee will meet, and the winner will be selected. How's the committee going? Have you formed the committee yet?
I don't want to give away too much, but we're bringing in some outside talent this year.
I know Brandon Webb was so terrified at the prospect of serving another year on the committee, he fled for Kentucky.
In an RV.
He'll be back in a month. 3-1.
Well, I made my suggestion. I think Leo Gilmartin, given his relative lack of anything to do during the ball game, that would be something he could occupy his time with over there in the radio booth.
There is Leo engineering and producing the radio side, along with the governor, Greg Schulte, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and Tom Candiotti. Everybody wearing purple today. The bouncer to third, Aaron Hill. 2 down. Well, Jeremy Hellickson so far 2 for 2 and trying to strand that Arenado double at second to lead off the inning. And now here's Daniel Descalso. DJ LeMahieu, normally the Rockies second baseman, has really slumped lately, so he's getting a night off from Walt Weiss, and it's the former Cardinal Descalso as Nick Ahmed checks in.
Arenado's been out there for a long time, and just to be safe rather than sorry, I think the Diamondbacks flipped up the signs there with the runner at second base, and Nick Ahmed just wanted to check in with Jeremy Hellickson to make sure he knew exactly what pitch was on the way.
Descalso has been strictly a bench player for Walt Weiss. This is only his 20th start all year. 213 and a pair of homers. 1 for his last 16 at the plate. The at-bats have just not been there with any consistency this season.
.94 at-bats on the year for Descalso. 25 of those have come as a pinch hitter. You're right, he's not getting a lot of starts.
Yeah, in fact, he only had 28 plate appearances for the entire month of June, so he might be a little rusty.
A little more patient here than we saw him in the series in Colorado. He was coming off the bench swinging at the first pitch he saw. A couple of pinch hit appearances.
Chases that curveball, and Jeremy Hellickson has his third strikeout. He strands that leadoff double. Still no score.
Hit, either way.
Right here.
Close your eyes and swing. I used to come as a pinch hit this year with the Cubs. Not fun.
Oh, it's hard.
That was last night. Wellington Castillo asking Cliff Pennington for some pinch hitting tips. Unfortunately, Welly's in the starting lineup tonight.
Yeah, I like Cliff's advice. Close your eyes and swing. Benny's been doing a great job in that role, coming off the bench late in ball games, drawing walks, getting base hits. But that is one of the tougher jobs in all of baseball, to sit over there for 2.5 hours and grab a bat, go up to the plate. Usually you're facing a setup guy or a closer late in the game.
Yeah, Cliff this year 4 for 15 as a pinch hitter with 5 bases on balls. It's got to be hard to take a walk as a pinch hitter.
You know, the conventional wisdom for pinch hitters is swing at the first strike you see. So many times guys come off the bench as a pinch hitter and see one pitch, pop it up, ground out, maybe get a base hit, whatever the case may be. Cliff doesn't take that approach.
Arenado, 2 Gold Gloves at third.
If it's possible to win more Gold Gloves in seasons you've played, Nolan Arenado would be the guy. Just highlight reel play after highlight reel play. He's worked hard to be this good.
He is one of just 5 players in Major League history to win a Gold Glove in each of his first 2 seasons. Frank Malzone did it with the Red Sox, also at third base. Ichiro in the outfield with Seattle. The other 2, you'll like this, catchers. Johnny Bench and Charles Johnson.
Nice.
0-1 on Aaron Hill. Aaron, 224 and 4 homers. Number 4 came last night against the Dodgers. This was Aaron last night against the lefty Brett Anderson.
Big loopy breaking ball just hung up on the inside part of the plate for Aaron, and he smoked it out of here to left field. That was good to see.
And back up there tonight against another lefty, Chris Russin, who drops that one in there for strike 3, his first strikeout.
Russin, a little different style of left-handed pitcher, however. We mentioned the 2-seam fastball and the cutter and the slider. Doesn't really throw that big, slow curveball we saw Brett Anderson roll up there yesterday.
Well, another chance for at-bats against a left-handed starter for David Peralta, and the at-bats against lefties have looked better and better as the season has gone on. He's at 266 and 7 home runs. Another Diamondback who homered in the ball game last night. Homered in the 9th off the closer, Kenley Jansen. Which is no small feat.
No, not at all. He's given up 2 homers all season, both to the Diamondbacks. This one to David Peralta last night, and at Dodger Stadium earlier this year to A.J. Pollock.
Dribbler over there away from the shift, but Arenado has it. And Russin works a 1-2-3 second. No score after 2.
But Nolan Arenado already showing why Chip Hale called him a beast, already with a double and a nice defensive play. I talked to Nolan before the game about a lot of different things, but one thing on the Gold Gloves, he said, look, I never worked on my defense until I hit pro ball. Not that I didn't take pride in it, I just didn't work on it. But he said, you know, I always had great hands, but I had terrible feet. And he credited Jerry Weinstein with the Modesto Nuts at that time, really fixing his issues with his feet. And guys, he's one of the best in the game now.
Oh, he sure is. He's one of the best players in the game, but defensively, certainly, Jody. He's right there with the guy that he said was his idol when he was a kid, Adrian Beltre. Another elite defensive third baseman.
If you're a third baseman in the National League right now, there's no need to clear space for a Gold Glove award in your den, because I think Arenado is going to take it just about every year. This guy is just spectacular defensively. And we watch him out here every day during batting practice taking his ground balls, and it isn't just stand in one spot, let the coach hit you a nice two-hopper and lob the ball across the diamond.
Rolled up the middle, Ahmed behind the bag, and Rustin is retired. 4 in a row set down by Hellickson.
Arenado has the coaches hit him to his right, to his left. We see him diving for balls on the foul line, and this is just in warm-ups. This is just practice.
And the stops are one thing. It's the other part of it with Arenado for me is that he's able to throw you out from anywhere on the field. I mean, he will practice those throws from spots that you'd never think he'd actually field the ball at, yet he always finds a way to get to them. And if you're going to be able to do that, the other half of the equation is you got to throw the guy out from there, and he has a unique knack of doing that. Brandon Barnes, the left fielder, batting 9th. We just saw Chris Russin hitting in the 8th spot for Walt Weiss. Roller to first. Hellickson covers, 2 down. You're on TV.
Yes, you are.
Well, I think Charlie Blackmon would like those guys.
I like the one on the right just because he went full throwback with the jersey.
Well, 4 pitches, 2 outs for Hellickson, who worked a 1-2-3 first. That was just the, in fact, 20th 1-2-3 first inning worked by a Diamondback starting pitcher this year.
Well, that was a real issue early on. Remember, we had how many in a row? 20 pitch or more first innings.
Yeah. Blackmon popped up his first time. So we'll see if he can get a 1-2-3 third here. So far, the Rockies only hit the Arenado double. He was stranded there at second. That's in there for a strike. It's 2-1. Blackmon, a relatively slow month of May at the plate. His batting average for the year dipped below 250 all the way into the first week of June, but he has really picked up the pace lately. Last 27 games, he's hit .320, and he's ahead 3 balls and 1 strike. You got sad feet?
Oh, happy socks. Fun socks.
Right in the team shop down here. 3-1 pitch. Sky high pop up. Very shallow right center. Chris Owings calling for it. And Jeremy Hellickson has retired 6 in a row. Shopping here at Chase Field on this Throwback Thursday. with the Diamondbacks inside air-conditioned comfort of Chase Field. Game time 7:10. And afterwards, we open up the roof. Our fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. You can get your 4th of July tickets right now at dbacks.com. So that's Saturday. And just to make absolutely certain, I think it's time for a Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast in just a moment. We'll let Chris Owings sit here and then check in with Ralph upstairs to get a forecast for Saturday, 4th of July, a firework forecast, if you will, on this Throwback Thursday. Haven't heard from Ralph on this homestand. Last time I was hanging out with Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel.
He's probably too big for us now.
Yeah, you know. Kind of blew us off earlier today. Try not to make too big a deal out of it, but 0-2 on Chris. Strikeouts are starting to pile up again lately for CO. He's punched out 8 times in his last 20 at bats, and he's down 0-2.
I saw Nick Hundley give that high target there to his pitcher. Wanted to go up the ladder against CO. Probably go up even a little higher with the next one. Just able to get a piece of that last pitch.
And you have the luxury of doing that, right, as the pitcher when you're ahead of the count.
When you're ahead of the count, you can do a lot of different things. You can make a hitter uneasy, come inside hard off the plate. You can bounce a change up. We see Jeremy Hellickson do that a lot in 2-strike counts.
And he gets Chris Owings, second strikeout for Chris Russin. All right, let's check in now. It is the highlight of any homestand. The new hit segment that is sweeping the country. Time once again for the Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast. And Ralph, before we get to the 4th of July forecast, I notice you've got your throwback gear on tonight.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do, Bert. You like it?
It looks great. I also noticed you've got a sign behind you. You've got your own set now.
Yeah, that's from the peanut gallery.
Ralph with the weather. Jeremy Hellickson at the plate. So, Ralph, everybody is going to want to be here on what we hope will be a beautiful night Saturday for 4th of July fireworks. What is your forecast for Saturday night?
Well, confidence is high that the big 4th of July fireworks show Saturday night is going to happen. I have to cover it for the post-game show.
Now, there are certain variables like wind, I understand, right? Wind and rain, any of that in the forecast?
It's minor. I think confidence is high it's going to happen. The 4th of July show is going to happen.
I admire your optimism, Ralph.
I just want to ask people to come on down because there's going to be a whole lot of people down here having a whole lot of fun.
Is Cantori coming?
No, I'm sorry, he's not.
Busy, huh?
I'm afraid he is.
You know his schedule.
Well, Ralph, you've done an outstanding job. You really dressed for the part here.
Of course. It's Diamondback Nation. Throwback Thursday.
Hey, Ralph, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Between innings, to your right, that clown back there with the Yankees jersey on. Yeah, grab his hat and just fire it out onto the field.
Yes, sir. You got it, BB.
Well, he deserves it. There's a sky-high pop-up along the right field line. Ben Paulson followed on. Descalso calls him off. And that's the second out. The Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast, the highlight of every Diamondback homestand.
That guy's probably been up there hiding under that seat since Game 7 in 0-1.
Just lurking, waiting for his big moment. Ralph Kelso. Here's Nick Ahmed, who led off the Diamondback first inning with a single and then was caught stealing.
See if we can get Nick a mulligan here. 2-out base hit, get on there and see what happens this time.
Well, the way he's been swinging the bat. I mean, counting tonight, he's now got 15 hits in his last 13 games, including 3 home runs. Well, it's good to hear from Ralph that confidence is high about Saturday's fireworks presented by Gila River Casinos. They always put on an amazing show every July 4th, and we're looking forward to that one here on Saturday night. Popped up near the Colorado dugout, but it's drifting toward the seats. 1-2.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Two pitch. Just inside with a fastball, and it's full. Russin had a rough outing in his previous start. That was a no decision at San Francisco last Saturday. 5 runs, 10 hits. He went 6 1/3. A 4.69 ERA in 7 appearances, 6 starts. 3-2 pitch. Lifted in the air. Very short right field, an easy play for Cargo, and Russin has retired 7 straight, no score through 3.
Got fired from the White Sox. That's not what makes it our Geico this day in Major League Baseball history. It's a guy that took over, Tony La Russa, who was managing their AAA ball club. Came up to the major leagues, managed 8 years down there in AAA with the Iowa Oaks. You see his numbers in 8 seasons with the Chicago White Sox, and it just continued to get better after that.
Now, the amazing thing about that photo, the uniform, which I love, they actually use those now as throwback uniforms on the south side. But when he first took over, they had those awful, remember those 1920 era black tops with the collars?
Yeah.
That was, he went from that to that. And then you're in Oakland, you're wearing gold and green and all that stuff.
White shoes.
Yeah, now he's got Sedona red. Troy Tulowitzki leads off the Rocky 4th against Jeremy Hellickson, who's retired the last 6 Colorado hitters he's faced. Tulo flying out to center his first time. Remember those old White Sox uniforms? They had Eric Soderholm playing third and Chet Lemon. Chet the Jet, he stole like 2 bases a year. They called him Chet the Jet Lemon.
George Orta, wasn't he on those teams?
Yeah, good call. And they always had, all those teams always had Harold Baines, and he could always hit. And of course, the guy who hired Tony La Russa to replace Don Kessinger as White Sox manager back in the day, the great Roland Heeman, who now works with Tony in the Diamondbacks front office. And that '83 White Sox team that Tony eventually had, but 4 years later after he got hired, is a team that he often compares this Diamondbacks team to, because they had a nice mix of veteran players and a whole bunch of young guys. They had some good young pitchers. You know, Lamar Hoyt pitched on that '83 White Sox team. A whole bunch of guys like that.
Tonight's broadcast of Diamondbacks baseball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome you and we thank you for your service.
Especially on this 4th of July weekend. 2-2 to Tulo. Just tried to drop one in there on him, but it's full 3-2. Who's on first?
David DeLucci fan.
Cargo will be next. Tulowitzki rolling right now. He's hitting better than .380 during a hitting streak that's now up to 14 games, but it actually goes a lot deeper than that. The last time he didn't have a base hit in a game was June 14th. In fact, that's the only day he has not had a base hit since May 29th. He's hit safely in 26 of his last 27 games. And the current streak up to 14. Jeremy Hellickson wins the battle. A frustrated Tulowitzki strikes out. That's 4 for Helly, who's retired 7 straight. Tulo barking after this one.
He's so good at getting a piece of pitches in those 2 strike counts and staying alive in at bats. He's not used to swinging and missing.
Not at fastballs. So he's 0 for 2. Here's Carlos Gonzalez, who struck out to end the first. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Nick Ahmed all by himself on the left-hand side. Another swing and a miss. Jeremy looks good tonight. Very efficient, throwing strikes, getting ahead in counts. Giving up only 1 hit, the Arenado double that led off the second. One or one.
Boy, he's feeling that changeup tonight. That's a beautiful pitch right there.
He's mixing it up.
This entire Rockies lineup and roster, for that matter, they hunt fastballs all night long. They love those matchups where they get a young kid out on the mound that has a good heater in the mid to upper 90s and likes to throw it a lot. Those are the guys they really feast on.
But a guy like this who likes to mix in his curveball and his changeup.
If you can just avoid mistakes, just don't leave anything over the middle. And so far tonight, it looks like Jeremy's commanding that fastball well. We've seen him throw some up in the zone when he wants to. A 2-seamer down in the zone to get some ground balls. Just keep him out of the middle of the plate.
The shift is on. Owings from the right field grass. Well, brings up Arenado again. Boy, this is a workout here. How'd you like to face Tulo, Cargo, Arenado, 2, 3, and 4 in the inning? But that's what Hellickson is up against here. Arenado doubled his first at bat. Still the Rockies' only hit.
It's never a trip to the beach, but if you have to face these guys, this is how you like to do it. Nobody on base.
Well, Arenado has been putting on a very impressive power display as of late. He's homered 3 times in his last 9 games, including once against the Diamondbacks last week. I actually cheated Arenado. I'm not going to give him his due. He's homered twice in a game, 3 times in his last 9 games. So the news is actually twice as bad. Had a 2-homer game June 23rd against the Diamondbacks. 2-homer game June 26th at the Giants. 2-homer game June 28th at the Giants.
These are the kind of runs you get on when you're just totally locked in at the plate. And as fast as it comes, it can disappear.
Well, you tried.
I tell you, Jeremy and Wellington Castillo, obviously the book on Arenado is to try to jam him inside. Watch Wellington Castillo. This was on the 2nd pitch of the at bat. Get it in there. You saw him take his hand in his glove, and look how far inside he moves. And Jeremy hits the spot.
2-2 pitch. He got him. Jeremy Hellickson has set down 9 in a row. He's got 5 strikeouts. We are scoreless on Throwback Thursday at Chase Field. Jose Fernandez returned from Tommy John surgery, and what a return it was for the Marlins ace. No walks, 6 strikeouts in 6 innings, and he also homered off Matt Cain into the Clevelander in his comeback from Tommy John surgery. Jose Fernandez, that was something.
Not supposed to be that easy.
How about it, huh? And of course, Patrick Corbin still waiting to find out if he will pitch here on Saturday. No official word from the Diamondbacks as of yet. Patrick just about ready to make his first start after Tommy John surgery. It might be Saturday, it might not. We don't know yet, but it is a possibility. A.J. Pollock leads off the Diamondback 4th against Chris Russin, who's retired 7 straight. A.J. fouled out his first time up. He's downstairs to Jody.
Talked about Patrick Corbin. I asked him if he watched Jose Fernandez today. Matt Moore, he said yes, he woke up and he watched that. He said he doesn't know if he'll have a home run in him when he comes back on the mound, but he said he was excited to see that. And I asked him, you know, if he has expectations for his first time coming back, and he said, I don't really think like that. I feel like I'm going to go out there and be the same guy that I was, whereas a lot of people talk about, of course, it takes time to get back to that point. He said, that is not the way I'm looking at things. I feel great. I feel like I have all my pitches, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I bet he is. You mentioned Matt Moore. Good call there, Jody. He came back from his Tommy John as well for the Tampa Bay Rays. They were beaten by Cleveland 5-4 in St. Pete at the Trop. The Trop. Matt Cain made his return in that game against Jose Fernandez in Miami. Marlins won at 5-4, coming off an injury of his own. Pollock strikes out. Third strikeout for Russin. One down. Good to see the Tommy John Club. They're thinning the herd here. David Hernandez back, and of course Daniel Hudson, and soon Patrick Corbin.
I have a feeling we're going to repopulate the herd come this offseason. Hopefully not the same guys. It just seems like there's a never-ending parade of guys going to see Dr. Andrews or whomever the orthopedic surgeon happens to be.
Goldie skies one back here. Well, speaking of Dr. Andrews, there was very good news regarding Archie Bradley, who was checked out by Dr. Andrews this week for a second opinion, and the news was very good. He went down to Pensacola to have that ailing right shoulder checked out, and Dr. Andrews said they found basically the same thing the Diamondbacks found, which was nothing. The MRI showed nothing, no structural damage at all, just some inflammation and tendonitis in that right shoulder. And so Dr. Andrews has recommended a follow-up exam, which will take place in Phoenix here now that he's back. So the news is good on Archie Bradley. Too low. The Jeter jump throw. And Goldie beats it out. Well, Troy Tulowitzki wears number 2. His idol was Derek Jeter, and he tried Jeter's patented jump throw right there, but Gold's been able to beat it to the bag.
That's really kind of a last resort play for me. I know Tulo does it all the time. I know Derek Jeter was the best at it, but you just can't get anything on the throw. Most shortstop trying to make a similar play would try to plant that right foot, stop their momentum, and then get as much on the throw as they possibly could, but Tulo does that almost all the time on balls to his backhand.
I tell you what, though, BB, that was pretty close, and Walt Weiss is on the top step. Tom Runnels, the bench coach, on the phone. Let's have a look.
He got it.
Manny Gonzalez, the first base umpire. There's Tom Runnels. No challenge from the Rockies. So Goldie at first with one out, and Tomas will hit. He's 2 for 2. Yasmani grounded out into a fielder's choice to end the first.
Fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Papa John's, that sounds good right about now. The 0-1. Tell you what, this was a hot topic a month or so ago. When were they going to find somebody to hit behind Goldie in this lineup? And Tomas has really fit the bill. Not only that, he's hitting over .340 from the cleanup spot this year, which is the second best mark in all of baseball, behind only Bryce Harper. So you want protection, there it is. Hits that way in the air, deep to center field. Blackmon back it up, but he's got room. And Goldie scampers back to the bag, allowed out number 2.
Tell you what, we have seen about a half a dozen fly balls in that area between straightaway center field and the 413 mark just to the left of straightaway center, and the ball just seems to get out there and die. The Bermuda Triangle for fly balls. Wellington Castillo flied out a couple times there a few nights ago, and now Yasmani Tomas chases Charlie Blackmon back to the track.
Here is Wellington Castillo. Grounded out his first time. Going to have to extend that home run porch.
About another 100 feet.
Tell you what, every time you see Wellington Castillo, he's smiling. There's something to be said for that.
Well, a few weeks ago, he was sitting in the bullpen in Seattle getting rained on, wasn't getting to play.
Now he's playing, he's got a roof.
Yeah.
It's
I'd be
all
smiling too.
It was a lot of fun listening to Wellington mic'd up for us last night in our Baseball in Focus broadcast.
It's funny, progression of a guy's career. Wellington Castillo got an opportunity to catch at a very early age with the Chicago Cubs, and maybe he wasn't mentally prepared for it, maybe he wasn't physically prepared for it, and maybe he didn't want to be a Cub, but just didn't seem to take full advantage of that opportunity. Now, went to Seattle obviously for a couple of minutes, didn't really get any opportunity to play there, but now getting an opportunity with the Diamondbacks, and I've talked about this many times. I think he realizes what's in front of him here if he can just do the job.
And he has done that. 1-2 now. It's funny because he had so much, I don't want to use the word turmoil, but change certainly. Playing at, one 16-day stretch, he played for 3 different teams. That can't be easy, especially for a catcher.
Especially for a catcher
who's got to learn all the pitchers and all that stuff. But boy, he's picked up the baton here and run with it. 1-2.
Wellington Castillo probably caught Chris Russin in Chicago several times.
Yeah, he had a .160 in 24 games with the Cubs, who opened the year with 3 catchers: Miguel Montero, David Ross, and Wellington Castillo. He only started 8 games in Chicago this year, and so he just couldn't get comfortable at the plate. Traded to Seattle in the middle of May for bullpen help. Just 6 games with the Mariners. He was sent to the Diamondbacks. Called strike 3. 4th strikeout for Chris Russin. Through 4, no score.
Padres. Wellington Castillo made the last out of the inning. So Cliff Pennington, the super utility player, puts on the mask, grabs a catcher's mitt, goes back there to warm up Jeremy Hellickson. He's already proven he's a serviceable left fielder if you have to run him out there. But I know that Cliff hopes he never has to go back there behind the plate in a game.
He wants to be on the mound. He'll be down there before every game working on that knuckleball. Well, the Diamondbacks getting some terrific pitching here tonight from Jeremy Hellickson, who has retired 9 straight. He's got 5 strikeouts. He's given up only 1 hit. The Nolan Arenado double to lead off the second. And he'll work to Ben Paulson, Nick Hundley, and Daniel Descalso 5, 6, and 7 in the Colorado 5th. Paulson a strikeout victim his first time. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks, and there's ball 1. .289 on the year, just 2 for 20 career against the Diamondbacks. Hits this in the air to center field, A.J. Pollock. That's 10 straight set down by Hellickson.
And he's done it with a little bit of everything tonight, striking out batters with changeups. We know he can do that with ease. He's also shown the good curveball tonight. That was a straight changeup. There's another one. Good yacker right there in the dirt, and then a high fastball to Troy Tulowitzki. Another changeup to Nolan Arenado. He's got it all working tonight.
When he gets, it's like a recipe, isn't it? You get the right mix with his stuff against this aggressive hitting team, like you mentioned. You can cook yourself up a pretty nice meal out there.
You're making me hungry.
Well, call Papa John. Nick Hundley grounded out his first time. Nick Hundley's success at the plate this year due mostly to his ability to handle right-hand pitching. Look at these numbers. He's hitting nearly .330 this year against righties, including all 6 of his home runs. Yasmani Tomas is the same way. He's been crushing right-hand pitching.
That foul ball off the bat of Nick Hundley. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game tonight. Let's eat.
Well, you are hungry.
I'm telling you.
Let's eat. What is
tacos and pizza and burgers? You got to hit a home run for a burger. You got to win the game for a pizza.
Ah, I got you.
5 runs for the taco and purple rain. Something's got to give tonight. Diamondbacks wearing their purple throwbacks, and the Rockies wearing purple every day.
Purple passion here at the ballpark. 2-2. Down the right field line. That is a fair ball. It's headed for the corner. Tomas picks it up, and Nick Hundley is in with his 13th double. The second hit for the Rockies against Hellickson.
Jeremy had to pitch around a leadoff double back in that second inning. See if he can do it with a 1-out double here off the bat of Nick Hundley. Kind of an inside-out swing that time. Dunks it down that right field corner. Nice play by Yasmani to play that carom off the bullpen fence and quickly get it back into the infield.
So with Hundley at second and 1 out, here's the second baseman Daniel Descalso, who struck out his first time up. Once again, Jeremy jumps ahead 0-1 with a strike 1. 12 of 16 first pitch strikes, working ahead in the count. Now with that first pitch strike, you have to mix it up just like all your other pitches, right?
Sure.
You can't just throw a fastball all the time on a strike first pitch.
And we've seen Jeremy start the count with change-ups on occasion. At some point in this game, he'll probably try to steal some first pitch strikes with curve balls.
0-1. Drives it to center. An easy play for Pollock. 2 down. Now here's the pitcher, Russin, batting 8th for Walt Weiss tonight. And when you get Cargo back in the lineup, I mean, they have a really stacked top of the order. Blackman, Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, Arenado. The idea with a speedy Brandon Barnes, who hits 9th, is to get more RBI opportunities for that guy after the pitcher. So in effect, once the lineup turns over, you've got Barnes, who can run, essentially leading off, and with some big RBI guys behind him. That is over the head of Ahmed and into left center field. Hundley's going to come around and score the game's first run, and sure enough, Chris Russin, the pitcher, makes it 1-0. A 2-out RBI single by the pitcher. That hurts.
Looked like a hanging changeup that time, up and out over the plate. Russin's a pretty good athlete, and even he can bang that ball out into the outfield for an RBI. I just showed you all the first pitch strikes for Jeremy Hellickson. That was really the first bad first pitch strike he's thrown. Changeup, up and out over the plate.
Here is Brandon Barnes, who grounded out his first time up.
Good stop there, keeping Russin at first base with 2 outs in the inning. You don't want to allow that man to move up 90 feet and get himself into scoring position with the top of the order coming up.
Barnes has been playing a lot more for the Rockies lately with some of their injuries, notably Corey Dickerson. But he's not produced a whole lot. He's hitting only .230 over his last 25 games. 23 of those have been starts. One and one.
2 top run scoring teams in the National League. Diamondbacks were #1 in the National League coming into play. The Rockies close behind at #2, and the pitcher drives in the first run of the game. Go figure.
Yeah, with 2 outs, that one bites you a little bit. Back with you tomorrow, game 2 of the 4-game set from here at Chase Field. The D-backs and the Rockies. It'll be Chase Anderson and Kyle Kendrick. And then Saturday, TBA, maybe Patrick Corbin. 1-2. To second, close. Russin makes it close, but they get the force, and that's the inning. Rockies get 1. They take the lead. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. We'll see David Peralta in the Diamondback 5th. 1-0 lead, a 2-out RBI single, and it'll work to Aaron Hill, David Peralta, and Chris Owings, 6, 7, and 8 in the Diamondback fifth. Russin picked up on waivers from the Cubs at the end of last year. He opened this season at AAA Albuquerque, and there he had an ERA near 6.5. But the Rockies had some injuries, they had some demotions in their rotation, so Russin was called up near the end of May. And he looked okay in his first 2 appearances. He won his first 2 starts, in fact, but since then, over his last 4, he's won just once and has pitched to an ERA of 7.48. But so far, so good. He leads at 1-0.
He's obviously a guy that needs to command that fastball, the sinker, the cutter, much like Jeremy Hellickson. Just has to keep it out of the middle of the plate to be successful. If he does make mistakes, he doesn't really have the velocity to blow the ball by opposing hitters. Doesn't really have any kind of a snapdragon breaking ball, but if he can spot that cutter sinker combination and mix in an occasional changeup, he can be tough.
Pitcher's duel right now, and Jeremy Hellickson trails 1-0 after giving up the single to his opposite number, and here's Aaron Hill. Chip Hale likes to use games against left-hand starters as a place to find Aaron Hill some at-bats. It's not always that easy. And nearly half of Aaron's plate appearances this year have come against left-hand pitchers. This one has popped up. Tulowitzki out there. Fly's coming in. On the dead run, he runs it down. So Jake Lamb sits against the left-hander.
Let's take a look at our lows. Never stop improving. How about this? Juan Marichal and Warren Spahn on this day in 1963 hooked up in what most people think is the greatest game ever pitched. Marichal and Spahn pitched 15 scoreless innings each. Willie Mays ended up hitting a solo home run in the bottom of the 16th inning to win the game 1-0.
Well, one guy who says that's the greatest game ever pitched, the guy that wrote the book.
Yeah.
Which is a terrific read. I knocked this out a couple of years ago. Jim Kaplan's The Greatest Game Ever Pitched. He wrote an entire book about that one game, the pitching duel of the century, and it's a wonderful read.
I mean, we're looking at a 1-0 game in the middle of the 5th. Each team's got 3 hits, and this is a pitcher's duel. That was a pitcher's duel.
All right. Fair point. Fair point. But this is the NL West. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
2-1. David homered here last night. Rolls one away from the shift and into left center. He's thinking about 2. Blackman got over there to pick it up, and Peralta has a wild single.
Second baseman.
Up and out over the plate to David, and with that shift on, if you're a smart hitter and you get a pitch up and out over the plate, that should be an easy base hit to the opposite field. Just grounded through that left side. You've only got one defender over there.
She would like a kiss from Mom on her birthday.
I don't know if Dad's so crazy about that, but I'm sure Mom would like it.
Well, after the base running we've seen the last game and a half here, let's focus on what you're doing. Maybe we can work something out between innings or something. CO struck out his first time up. Nine strikeouts in his last 21 at bats. We talked with you about this, Bob, on the new D-backs podcast, which is up on the website today, about how Chris is seeing the ball, or maybe not seeing the ball so well.
Just doesn't seem to be able to pick up rotation. Swings through breaking balls with a fastball swing. Chases that slider down low and away. It's the 69th time this season that Chris Owings has found himself in an 0-2 count.
We've been saying that. It seems like he's been 0-2 all year long. Yeah, I believe it. It's hard to hit like that, isn't it?
25% of his at-bats, he's 0-2.
When you're 0-2, are you basically up there playing defense?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you hope that the pitcher makes a mistake that you can barrel up and hit somewhere, but you've got to be ready. I mean, we talk about expanding the strike zone, and as a hitter, when you have a 2-strike count, you not only have to cover the strike zone, you have to cover those pitches that are maybe a ball or two off the corner, because we've seen how that strike zone can get very large for the home plate umpire.
Jim Reynolds back there tonight, a World Series umpire. The ball and 2 strikes now.
Just a note quickly on David Peralta, who started this year 2 for 21 against left-handed pitching. And we speculated that maybe seeing more lefties, he'd get into some kind of a rhythm. Well, he's 6 for 16 over his last 7 games against left-handed pitchers with a couple of extra base hits.
That is really impressive improvement, considering where he was, which was under 200 versus lefties last season. But Chip Hale, and Chip will tell you this, he doesn't have a whole lot of choice right now either. It's nice to give David the opportunities, and he's making the most of them. But look, it's pretty much Peralta, Pollock, Tomas left to right. That's basically what you got with Ender and Ciarte on the DL. And it's been tough to get any of those 3 guys a day. In fact, we saw Cliff Pennington make a start in San Diego in the outfield. 1-2. That is going to stay fair. Nope. In fact, here is David Peralta talking about facing left-hand pitching.
I just have to trust myself. You know, I always trust myself and everything. And like I said, the more that I'm seeing lefty, I mean, I'm starting versus lefty and all this stuff, I'm going to get better. I get used to all the breaking pitch and all this stuff. Just need to be a little patient in the home play and just try to wait for a good pitch to drive it to the gap.
Seems like that's just what he's doing.
Absolutely. And more so than any other left-handed hitter we've seen recently, David seems willing to go the opposite way, beat that shift, look for something out over the plate and hit it to the opposite field.
And the aggressive way that he runs the bases, if he finds a gap, oftentimes, like he almost did there, he's going to get an extra base out of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Chris Owings. Peralta at first, 1 out. And Owings strikes out again. 2 down. 5 strikeouts for Chris Russin. So that swing to you says pitch recognition.
Well, with 2 strikes, I give him a little bit more leeway because you do have to be ready to protect anything close to the zone. Now, maybe when that ball came out of Russin's hand, Chris Owings thought it was going to be at the bottom of the strike zone, but that late break on that slider down and in, he just still doesn't seem to recognize pitches quickly enough.
Jeremy Hellickson.
Sometimes when you get a guy in a funk like Chris is in right now, you try to play a little hit and run if you have a possibility or the right runners on base, just to eliminate any doubt. I mean, I'm swinging at this pitch and I have to protect the runner. It's not I want to get a base hit, I want to drive the ball in the gap. I have to protect my teammate because he didn't get a great jump at first, but it's a hit and run. I need to make contact with this pitch, and maybe you shorten up your swing a little bit, you wait a little bit longer. Just try to do everything you can to snap a guy out of it when he's chasing a lot of bad pitches.
Now it's Hellickson who's down 0-2.
Got it.
Well, we saw this. I think it got Hundley too.
Always does.
We saw this with Jeremy when he got hit on the hip in his last start here at Chase Field before the last road trip. And now he's plunked again.
Cutter inside. Yeah, it looked like it caught him on the left thigh muscle and then ricocheted into Nick Hundley off the right wrist. Ooh. You fans watching at home, just keep an eye on that this season as you're watching Diamondbacks baseball or any baseball game for that matter. How many times the batter gets hit by the ball and the catcher or the umpire take the brunt of it. Down there trying to stretch it out, keep it loose.
Well, it worked out in one sense for the Diamondbacks. They have 2 on, 2 out, and the leadoff man, Nick Ahmed, up there. Down 1-0. Peralta at second, and Hellickson the pitcher at first. Nick singled in the first. He's 1 for 2. The 0-1 misses. It's a ball and a strike.
You notice Dave McKay kind of turned sideways so he can see the first baseman Ben Paulson and also see the pitcher out of the corner of his eye. Trying to make sure that first baseman doesn't try to sneak in behind on a pickoff attempt.
Ahmed lifts this in the air deep to right center field. Blackman near the pool runs it down. And Russin strands 2 through 5. He leads it 1-0. Chase Field starts July 17th. On Friday, you'll enjoy a post-game fireworks show courtesy of Gila River Casinos. And then Saturday, pick up the Star Wars bobblehead courtesy of Cox. And then on Sunday, for your sad feet, it's a fun pair of Diamondback socks. Lots of events coming up this month. Get tickets at dbacks.com. We'll see you there.
Sunday, fun day, fun socks.
And as Chuck Drago pointed out, he's of course the PA voice here at Chase Field. Whenever he announces A.J. Pollock bobblehead night, Star Wars bobblehead night, he says, "This is the bobblehead you're looking for." Like, these aren't the droids you're looking for. You can go about your business. Move along. Chuck's very proud of that line. And yeah, there you go, Chuck. See, we got it in for you there, buddy. Look, he's using his Jedi mind powers right now. A.J. Pollock, Star Wars bobblehead day coming up soon.
Oh.
Mitch Riggin with his lightsaber.
Nice.
Zippy did that in the truck. Jeremy Hellickson about to throw his 70th pitch.
I'm lost. I'm still thinking about Fun Socks.
Well, we got Fruit Loops on the crew, Zippy. It actually explains a lot. Blackman leads off the 6th. You and I were doing the game in San Diego on the last road trip, and then turned around. Suddenly there was Chuck Drago.
Boom.
Who, along with a lot of the Diamondback staff, made that road trip last weekend. Watched the Diamondbacks play the Padres.
I forgot where we were for a moment.
Yeah, it was weird. Nice play there. Gary Schiffman pouncing on that one with the throwback Gold Glover uniform.
Roger Riley's got to have some purple helmets down there in the vault somewhere. That just doesn't complete the look.
That's Ernie Ned down the other end.
Oh, play the angle. Nice.
Trying to bunt for a base hit. Ellison's on it. He's got a Gold Glove in his back pocket, and he just showed you why.
Made that look easy.
Just a casual little. It's like he was skipping stones on the pond there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. The barehanded play, no step toward his target, just kind of flicked it underhanded like a third baseman would do, like Nolan Arenado would do, and gets a lot on it in time to get Blackman at first.
See the glove on Jeremy Hellickson. Once you win a Gold Glove, you get to have that gold band right there. You can see just on the heel of the glove, and you get to wear that the rest of your career. Here it is. Good shot of it. So you literally are then a Gold Glover. Troy Tulowitzki. Great looking crowd here tonight. First of 4 against the Rockies. Last home series of the first half. It is just flying by here.
It really is.
Hard to believe. After this series, 2 in Texas, 3 at the Mets, and then the All-Star break. Speaking of Texas,
advanced scouts.
Every time I see those guys, I think of the George Costanza Seinfeld thing when the guys from Houston come in. There's a strike, 2-1. Speaking of the All-Star break, this July baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic. Home field advantage in the World Series is on the line. Our coverage of the 2015 MLB All-Star Game starts July 14th at 4 o'clock on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Ellickson's had Tulowitzki's number tonight. He struck him out the last time up.
Now watch Wellington Castillo. Watch him lean to the right here. When a batter swings through a changeup, that's where they're most likely to really try to extend their swing, and we've seen catchers get clubbed on top of the head back there when batters swing through a changeup. So Wellington just kind of leaned to the outside part of the plate as Tulowitzki finished his swing.
Because they're more off balance?
Oh yeah, they get out in front, and just human nature. You see the pitch, you know you're going to be way out in front of it, so you loosen your hands, you really extend your arms, you try to get out there and get a piece of that pitch. And occasionally that backswing will catch the catcher on the helmet. So he's leaning over there. That tells you that he's been hit on the helmet a few times before on changeups.
And on this pitching staff, that's going to happen a lot. Full count, 3-2. Got him again. Jeremy Hellickson strikes out Troy Tulowitzki for the second time in the ballgame.
That was a pride strikeout right there. He got him in his last at bat with a high fastball, and Troy Tulowitzki probably told himself, there's no way in the world I'm going to let this guy throw another fastball by me in a 2-strike count. So he jumped out there at that changeup and swung and missed.
Well, Tulo, who sits safely now in 26 of his last 27 games, batting .400 during that stretch, is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts tonight against Hellickson. And here's Cargo. He's 0 for 2, struck out back in the first. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. They overload the right-hand side. 0-1.
9 games left before the All-Star break. I have to take my shoes and my fun socks off. But if the Diamondbacks go 6-3, go into the break at 500.
Doable. Win 6 of the next 9. Watching some of the Met game today. Miguel Montero hit a homer at Citi Field. You got 2 in Texas, 3 at Citi Field. A couple of off days next week too, so the pitchers will have some extra rest. 80 pitches for Hellickson, 50 strikes. 1-1. Into the shift. Chris Owings from way out there in the outfield grass. And Hellickson works a 1-2-3-6, but the Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 1-0. A Fan Sunday, the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup Final is here, and it's a rematch 4 years in the making. Alex Morgan and Team USA take on defending champ Japan to see who will be crowned the champion. Coverage starts Sunday, 2 o'clock, only on your local Fox station and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. On this Throwback Thursday, everybody embracing the old purple colors, including Mickey, who's stationed down there right next to the Diamondback dugout. Now, Mickey, I understand that you told me this earlier this year. That is an original shirt, right?
Yes.
Audio issues here. Now, was that? Did you have that in 2001?
Not this particular model, but I have a older one. Still fits.
Nice.
Attaboy, Mickey.
A.J. Pollock gives it a ride, deep left center field, and there it goes! A.J. Pollock, that's number 10, and we are all tied up. Well, hold on to that shirt, Mickey. It's good luck.
The team may only wear these on Thursdays, but Mickey's got to wear them every day. A.J. Pollock flexing his muscles. No Bermuda Triangle on that one. He drove that one way out of here.
All smiles for A.J. A 3-hit night last night. Tonight is 10th home run of the year. Ties it up. And here's Goldie, who's 2 for 2. Checking in with Turner Ward, the hitting coach. 0-2 on Paul Goldschmidt. I bet you gets us a 3-2. I'll bet you a slice of pizza.
You got it.
Because he was down 0-2. Seen this a million times.
I hope you win.
Up to 355 with his 2 hits tonight. That leads the major leagues. Two and two.
A little pirouette out there by Russin after that pitch. He thought he caught that inside corner. Not a bad pitch, but not in the strike zone.
Pay up.
Try to go right back to it again. There you go.
Rodeo. It's amazing how often he does that, from 0-2 to 3-2. Leading the National League in walks and on base percentage. And he blasts it to center. Blackman runs it down at the track for the first out here in the 6th.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 20 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Arizona Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Yasmani Tomas. Like to have that one back.
Yeah.
1-1.
That's a check swing that just refuses to check.
The other way, fights it off. Paulson calls off Russin. 2 down.
We were talking earlier about protection in the lineup. Goldie hitting behind AJ and Yasmani hitting behind Goldie. As often as Goldie gets on base, there's going to be a big hole on that right side of the infield. A lot of at-bats for Yasmani Tomas, and that's where his natural swing sends the ball more often than not.
In that sense, he's the perfect guy to have behind him.
Absolutely.
Wellington Castillo 0 for 2. Well, he's 6 homers on the year. 4 have come as a Diamondback. I always like that seat out there because you're low to the ground. You almost look at the play the same way the right fielder does.
Just a little bit above head high for the outfielders when you're right there in the front row.
It's interesting because almost every ballpark you go to, if you're out in the right field seats, the left field seats, you're way up there. I mean, but here at Chase Field, you're kind of right down there behind him, and you see what he sees in many ways.
And you can help him with his positioning,
which we encourage. There's a strike on 3-0.
Have to fess up at Old Candlestick Park. The football bleachers in right field were behind the right field fence, but you could walk underneath them and nobody could see you. It was very dark and shady back in there. We used to sneak around back in there and yell at the opposing right fielders from time to time.
That seems unsportsmanlike.
All in good fun.
First walk issued by Chris Russin, and he'll work to Aaron Hill with 2 outs and Castillo at first.
Well, we didn't have the raw materials to build slingshots, so we had to entertain ourselves.
Andrew Chaffin, that's his specialty. That was against the Rockies, actually, out in Coors Field with Chaffin in the bullpen. Built himself a slingshot with one of those hospital gloves, I think. Accurate up to 60 feet. Unlike some pitchers. There's Andrew with Oliver Perez.
Looking at that bullpen at Coors Field, you probably should have some kind of a weapon. There's probably bears and stuff out there.
Bears. Well, you know what they. Well, never mind. You know where I was going.
Yeah.
We kind of gave you the look back there, looking through the screen here at Chase Field. Does that look like Candlestick at all? Our guys are out there. That's what you're looking at. So you're back there yelling at guys.
Yeah, and hidden completely. They would turn around and look, and of course the bleachers were always empty. Nobody sat out in right field. Where's those voices coming from? We'd be back there in the shadows behind the girders. I see you, Cargo. I'm watching every move you make. No, go back to your right. Hearing voices out there in right field. 2-1. The pitch du jour, that cut fastball. Russell's got a good one.
It's full 3-2. And with 2 outs, Castillo will be off from first with a pitch. All Weiss's Rockies coming to Chase Field, 10 under 500, 10 games back, last in the NL West. First of 4, tied at 1 in the 6th. There goes Castillo. Aaron Hill rolls it to Arenado, who boots it. 2 Gold Gloves, but he botches that one. And Aaron Hill's aboard. You won't see that maybe ever.
It's the 8th error of the season for Nolan Arenado. That's just a shocker. Hit him right in the heel of the glove, bounced far enough away, and then he misses when he tries to scoop it. Oh, that is a shocker. That was about as routine a play as we've seen down there at third base for Arenado.
Can't pick up Russin, who now gets a visit from Steve Foster, the pitching coach. I'll tell you what, the guy in this ballpark that was standing there glaring at the video replay was Nolan Arenado. He stood there, he wanted to watch that one. Because that's not something you see too much of. But a break for the Diamondbacks here with 2 outs, a walk and an error brings up David Peralta, who had a base hit his last time up. So another chance here in a big spot for David against the left-hand pitcher. Two on and 2 out. There's strike 1. The numbers on David this year, left, right. And that number versus lefties was down in the low hundreds earlier this year. So as Bob mentioned earlier, it's been greatly improved as of late. Let's start him every night against the lefty.
Well, this is something that Diamondbacks did so well for a stretch earlier this season. Take advantage of the opposition's mistakes. Nolan Arenado rarely boots a ball down there at third base. But they made him pay right here. David Peralta keeping it just fair down that right field line. Atta baby.
Just by a diving Ben Paulson, it rolled all the way down to the Rocky bullpen there. And Peralta, with all that speed, running the bases like a runaway freight train, is in with his 3rd triple. And it's 3-1 Diamondbacks. And they'll walk Owings with Hellickson spot up next. Jeremy, who started this inning down 1-0, now has a 3-1 lead. Bullpen getting busy. Scott Oberg, the right-hander. Pollock homered to lead off the 6th. Goldie flied out. Tomas grounded out. The walk to Castillo, followed by the Arenado error. And now the Peralta triple. They give Owings the free pass, and Hellickson will be the 8th Diamondback hitter in this inning.
Pitcher, Jeremy Hellickson.
Jeremy has popped up. He was hit by a pitch his last time up, right on the leg. He's pitched a terrific ball game here tonight, giving up just 1 run on 3 hits. He has not walked a batter. He's got 6 strikeouts, and now he's in line for the win. And he shoots that one right by Dave McKay at first. Bruce Russin, a 30-pitch 6th after he came into the inning with a 1-0 lead. After his RBI single back in the 5th. About to throw his 100th pitch of the ball game.
Only one other time this year has Russin gone over 100 pitches. It was a 6-0 loss. He threw 105 pitches, hit 5 1/3 against the Marlins. Gave up 11 base hits and 6 runs in that game.
He pitched at the University of Kentucky, a 4th-round pick by the Cubs in 2009. Picked up on waivers by the Rockies after last season. He's ahead of Hellickson, a ball and 2 strikes. And he gets the strikeout. But the Diamondbacks get 3. A.J. Pollock got it started. A solo homer to lead off the inning, his 10th of the year, and then a 2-out triple by David Peralta, and it's 3-1 Diamondbacks after 6.
Diamondbacks bottom half of the 6th rather. I think back to the series in Colorado. Arenado and Mike McHenry came together in foul territory. And when an excellent defender like Arenado is embarrassed, and I think he was embarrassed on that play right there in Colorado. He was embarrassed by that ground ball tonight down at 3rd base. Sometimes they jump up and do amazing things. We didn't even know if Arenado was going to stay in the ball game that day. They checked him out in the dugout, grabbed his helmet, grabbed his bat, came up to the plate and hit a home run in his next at bat in the ball game. So watch the first pitch.
Yeah, he is becoming an MVP type player. One of the elite players in this game at the age of 24. Nolan Arenado, second round pick out of El Toro High School in Lake Forest, California. Meanwhile, Jerry Hellickson now got a 3-1 lead, and he has pitched a beauty here tonight. A run on 3 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. He'll work to Arenado, Paulson, and Hundley, 4, 5, and 6 in the Rockies 7th. Be very careful here. We talk all the time about the importance. This is something Tony La Russa emphasized. The importance of the shutdown inning. Once you get a lead, get out of that next inning. And be careful here with a guy who's hit 8 home runs in his last 10 games, Nolan Arenado. He doubled in the second, struck out his last time up. Are you a big shutdown inning guy?
Absolutely. I really think it takes a lot of wind out of the sails if your team puts some runs on the board, especially the way they came about in that inning, the solo homer and then the Arenado error, big base hit by David Peralta against the lefty, and then put a 0 on the board in that next inning. It's a huge swing.
Way up there, but playable for Peralta. Hey, D-backs fans, we're excited to introduce new from Pepsi, Pepsi Limon, made with 2% real lime juice. A little bit of lime and a whole lot of flavor. Pick up yours today, now available at your local retailer. Big Ben Paulson 0 for 2. Shift is on again for the Diamondbacks. We've seen that a number of times tonight with Chris Owings way out there, almost in medium right field. He's had to field a couple of grounders hit right to him with that shift on, and it's worked out. Paulson wants time, granted by Jim Reynolds back there.
And I think how deep you play in right field depends on the speed of the guy at the plate.
The slower he is, the further back you can go.
Deeper you can play. Give yourself as much range as possible.
There you see Chris. And he's had a couple hit right to him there. A high chopper over the mound. Hellickson just going to run with it. And he beats him to the bag. 2 down. Nice play by the Gold Glove pitcher. All this shifting, sometimes they hit it right back to the pitcher. But the defensive overshifts have worked very well for the Diamondbacks this year. Batter to batter and count to count.
Well, Jeremy obviously can't take his eye off the ball. He was getting ready to toss on to Goldie and has the presence of mind to tuck that ball away and win that foot race to first base. Watch him take a look at Goldie here. Whoa, wait a minute. I'm gonna get over there.
And the gentleman that oversees a lot of these defensive overshifts, there he is, Dr. Ed Lewis right there, the director of analytics, GM Dave Stewart. He works very closely with Andy Green. Andy in the dugout actually takes the information provided to him by the analytics department here and puts it to use, moves the defenders around. Nick Hundley now doubled and scored his last time up. Goldie at first. Hellickson covers, and there's your shutdown inning. A 1-2-3 7th. He's now retired 7 straight. He leads at 3-1. Arizona is brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
And back here at Chase Field, D-backs with a 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the 7th. And tonight, Throwback Thursday, so we kicked off our special VIP guest analyst series with Shea Hillenbrand, of course, former Diamondback, and that will continue tomorrow. Connor Murphy from the Arizona Coyotes, the defenseman, he'll join Todd Walsh on the set. And I know he's a baseball fan as well, and he's going to also talk a little bit about the Coyotes, who had a great day of free agent signings yesterday. And so when we get back, though, from the road trip and the All-Star break, guys, Rich Rodriguez, U of A football head coach, will join us on July 17th. And Todd Graham, of course, equal time, of course, ASU Sun Devils, the head coach there, he will join us on July 18th. And for the complete list of guest analysts in the month of July, of course, log on to foxsportsarizona.com, where I also did an interview today with Nick Ahmed. We talked a lot about, his success at the plate this year, and also who he grew up watching at the shortstop position. Being from Massachusetts, it was Nomar Garcia-Parra, but he also loved Derek Jeter as well.
I hate to correct you, Jody, but that's Nomar. Nomar Garcia-Parra.
Go park your car.
He and Tommy Brady. That Goodell with the footballs. To deflate his football. Don't mess with Tommy. Nick Ahmed, 1 for 3. Disregard. Scott Oberg, the new pitcher for the Rockies. Scoreless work in 23 of his 30 appearances this year. He's been up and down on the big league club a couple of times. Nomar once told me a story about the whole Nomar thing. That was the Saturday Night Live bit. Remember that?
Yeah.
Arenado. And he once, when he was living on the waterfront in Boston playing for the Red Sox, there were a couple of young girls had fallen in the water. They were in the water, and it was nighttime, and it's a dangerous situation. He was with his cousin, Nomar. Well, they jumped in the water and pulled him out. It was a big story in Boston. It was, headline news. Nomar saves girl, the whole thing. So I was talking to him about it one time. I said, hey, tell me about that time you pulled the 2 girls out of the water. And I was with my cousin, and we're walking, and all of a sudden we hear voices, and they're in the water. Help us, help us. So he says they jump in there, they pull the girls out, pull them onto the shore there, onto the dock. And the one girl, she's drenched, she's almost drowned. She looks up and goes, hey, you're Nomar. With the thickest Boston accent you can imagine. You're Nomar.
She probably thought she died and went to heaven.
Well, exactly. Speaking of heaven, churro dog. Well, A.J. Pollock had one of the big hits in the ball game for the Diamondbacks his last time up, a solo homer to lead off the 6th. That tied the game and won his 10th of the year. And he's got another base hit. A.J. a 3-hit night last night. He's got 2 tonight. This was the home run in the 6th. It's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play the game.
It may have unsettled Chris Russell out there on the mound. That was the first batter of the inning in the 6th, and A.J. took him way back to left center field.
Well, now they get to deal with Goldie, who's 2 for 3. Goldie versus the Rockies this year, just killing it. Coming into the game tonight, over 408 games against Colorado. 2 homers and 9 RBIs in those 8 games, and he's 2 for 3 tonight. I don't like Silver, but I love Goldie. That's nice. As of the final voting update, by the way, earlier this week, Goldie leading all National League first basemen in the All-Star game balloting. 7.3 million votes. Almost twice the number that Adrian Gonzalez has. So great job by Diamondback fans all over the world voting online. Don't forget, you could. Well, I guess the voting is over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. So you can't vote anymore. But nice job.
Try.
Actually, if you go right now, I'm told you have 2 minutes. It stops at midnight Eastern time, which is 2 minutes away. I got it. Well, I got it at 8:56 local time. So you got 3 minutes. Starting now. Go. So the online voting ends. Yeah, right at the top of the hour, midnight Eastern time. 9 o'clock here, home of the great state of Arizona.
Yeah, obviously, Goldie got tremendous support here in Arizona and throughout the National League West, but I'd like to think that the entire baseball world has opened their eyes to the magnificence that is Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, he's leading the National League in walks, and he just got another one. And in fact, that's a somewhat historic walk. He now ties Justin Upton for 5th on the Diamondbacks all-time walks list.
Right fielder, Yasmani Tomas.
They don't walk bad hitters. They go right after them. The good hitters, they nibble around, and Goldie's very patient. He's willing to take those walks, the most all time before the All-Star break.
Well, Yasmani Tomas now 2 on, 1 out. He's 0 for 3. A.J. Pollock, the runner at second. Paul Goldschmidt at first. That one is headed for the corner, and it is a fair ball. A.J. Pollock will score. Andy Green waving Goldie home. Here he comes. And it's a 2-run double for Yasmani Tomas, and it's 5-1 Diamondbacks. Sometimes you gotta live Tomas.
I got to tell you something, partner. I have no idea how he hit that ball and kept it fair.
One of your keys to the game. Let's eat.
Let's eat. That ball is up and in off the plate a good foot, and somehow Yasmani Tomas gets inside that ball, keeps it fair down the left field line. I mean, that is Albert Pujols-like, keeping the ball fair down the third baseline on a pitch a foot off the inside corner.
Hitting over 340 from the cleanup spot this year. That's second best in the major leagues, behind only Bryce Harper. And he's done a terrific job batting behind Paul Goldschmidt. You're down to your final 20 seconds. Keep clicking. Yeah, one more. Don't change the pick. America's first baseman, Wellington Castillo.
That was an amazing piece of hitting right there. That pitch hits most right-handed batters.
And we spent most of the spring wondering if he'd ever hit a ball to left field.
Look at where this pitch is.
Just pulling those hands in, is that it?
Pulling the hands in, throwing those hips open the shoulders up, but yet keep the ball fair. I've seen right-handers hit that ball before, but usually it's in the second deck foul up behind the third base dugout.
2-0. Did a nice job dropping that breaking ball in there for a strike. Three and one. Aaron Hill on deck. bullpen is quiet. So is the Diamondbacks bullpen, for that matter. Jeremy Hellickson has pitched a beauty, and it looks like he'll go into the 8th inning tonight. Ball 4. Tom Reynolds, the bench coach. Walt Weiss, the manager. 2 on and 1 out for Aaron Hill. And now the bullpen will get busy down there. Aaron reached on the Arenado error his last time up and scored on the Peralta 2-out 2-run triple. McCunley wants a word. Justin Miller, the right-hander. Well, Oberg having problems throwing strikes now. He's behind 2-0.
There's no question the Rockies starting rotation has had their share of issues this year, but if you can get into this Rockies bullpen, you should be able to get fat. They have the worst ERA in Major League Baseball. Those guys coming out of that right field bullpen.
Three balls and no strikes. That's a ratio that you want to have reversed. There's the strike. We got a little history here, BB. Really? Yeah, we got some broadcast history in this game. I want to congratulate Jenny Kavner from Root Sports Rocky Mountain. She is working the ball game on Rockies radio tonight, calling the game. She's in the booth, which is just tremendous.
To the best of my knowledge, only the second woman that's ever broadcast a game. Susan Waldman, been doing it for a long time in New York.
Oh my goodness gracious! It's down the line and fair. Yasmani Tomaso coming in score. Here comes Castillo. And the Diamondbacks are pouring it on. 7-1.
Getting in the mix tonight. Sinker down and in. Aaron Hill just tomahawks that ball down the third base line. We've seen a couple of nice swings on pitches inside off the plate. Produces 2 more runs.
So we'll take a break. Pitching change. 7-1 Diamondbacks. Back after this. Brought to you in part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros location today. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. The Diamondbacks with a 3-run 6th and now a 4-run 7th. Justin Miller is the new pitcher for the Rockies. Still only 1 out in the inning, and here's David Peralta, who singled in the 5th and had a 2-out 2-run triple in the 6th. Aaron Hill just had his 2-run double put up on the board. 7-1 now, and here's Peralta versus Miller. As we mentioned, that's Jenny Kavner from Root Sports Rocky Mountain working on KOA radio with Jack Corrigan as the analyst on the radio broadcast for Rockies radio.
Well, Jenny's done pre and post game in San Diego before coming to the Rocky Mountains and filling the same role, but pinch hitting tonight in the radio booth.
She is normally the pre and post game host for Rockies games on Root Sports. And working tonight as the analyst. Oh, and 2 on Peralta. It kicks up over Huntley's head, and Aaron Hill overruns the bag. Couldn't plant his feet that time, and Arenado applies the tag. Well, even with the lead, the base running misadventure still continuing here.
One thing that would help, just slide.
The throw is coming right at him. So that's 2 down now, a 1-2 count on Peralta.
Saw that ball coming toward his head as he got close to third base. He was more concerned with getting out of the way of the throw than sliding into the base.
Peralta strikes out, but the Diamondbacks get 4. Yasmani Tomas, a 2-run double. Aaron Hill followed with another 2-run double. 7-1 D-backs as we go to the 8th. Union Power Player of the Game, Jeremy Hellickson, was terrific. 1 run in 7 innings. He gave up just 3 hits, no walks, and had 6 strikeouts.
And this is one of the best offenses in all of baseball, top to bottom. They can beat teams into submission when they're swinging the bats well. But Jeremy Hellickson just was outstanding tonight, hitting his spots, changing speeds, moving the ball all over the place.
And a chance to get David Hernandez some work with a 7-1 lead in the 8th. David's 9th appearance of the year. And it was David who gave up the Howie Kendrick homer to lead off the 10th inning against the Dodgers the other night. So a bounce back opportunity here. Daniel Descalso leads off the Rockies' 8th. And Jeremy Hellickson turns in the first quality start in the last 5 games for the Diamondbacks. The last one was Robbie Ray in San Diego. In the first game of that series at Petco Park, he lost the game but gave up only 2 earned in 6 innings.
And you'd like to think the rest of the rotation, and we've seen it happen a couple of times this year, just follow the leader. But the reality is all you need is one lengthy outing through your rotation. Get 8 innings out of a starter one night, and you should be able to patch together any shorter outings from the other guys in the rotation. But if you have back-to-back short outings, that can get a little testy. But Jeremy's 7-inning performance tonight, however, allows Chip to get guys in there like David Hernandez, who needs an inning of work to sharpen up a little bit, rather than just go to the bullpen and ask who's healthy, who can throw.
Two and two.
Congratulations in order. The Diamondbacks minor league player and pitcher of the month were named. Kevin Cron, the Visalia first baseman, the player of the month, had 7 homers and 18 extra base hits in the month of June. And Wei J. Wang, the Taiwanese pitcher for Kane County, the pitcher of the month, 24 innings pitched, struck out 23, only walked 4 batters, and he's going to pitch for the World Team in the Futures game,
which is coming up at All-Star Weekend in Cincinnati. That's a real find for the Diamondbacks. He's been tremendous all season long at Kane County for the Cougars down there in low A ball. And they might have something there with him. A lot of guys like that in the minor league system. We've talked about Aaron Blair, who's with Reno right now. Zach Godley just got moved up from Visalia to Double-A Mobile. He's been very good. He won last night. And there's some pitching in the lower levels as well. Hernandez strikes out Descalso, 1 down. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Smile. Use the hashtag AZDataStrong, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast as you pass muster with the Brenly Committee, brought to you by T-Mobile. As Leo Gilmartin formally accepted the committee's offer.
My people are talking to his people. It's quite a complicated negotiation going on right now.
Well, Drew Stubbs just called up from the minor leagues before the ball game. Takes Tomas to the wall for a loud out number 2. Stubbs hitting for the pitcher. I find it upsetting that Leo has people.
Yeah.
He's got a staff, apparently. Brings up Brandon Barnes. Of course, Leo's always got the hand sanitizer right there. Tom Candiati, Greg Schulte working Diamondback Radio. Leo overseeing things. Wearing the purple tonight. Brandon Barnes.
A little bit of tailing, sinking action at the very end.
David Hernandez looking good on in relief of Jeremy Hellickson. This was the first time this season that Jeremy completed 7 innings. A run on 3 hits, no walks. He struck out 6. Look out.
Zoom ball.
You don't necessarily have to throw him a strike on 0-2, but
He wanted to change his eye level here.
Apparently.
You see Castillo sets up high in the zone, but that one just airmails everything. Tonight, the 21st time this season that the Diamondbacks have scored 7 runs or more. Undefeated when they score 7 or more.
One of your keys to the game. Let's eat. Keep this thing going all weekend long. 3 more against these guys before we head out on the road. Chase Anderson pitches tomorrow night. Barnes drives that to left. Peralta has it, a 2-out single. Hey fans, follow the Diamondbacks wherever you go with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. It's up to the moment. At any moment, At Bat has in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. You can get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or your tablet. I got that on my phone. Tremendous watching baseball games on your phone, sitting on the bus. Charlie Blackmon 0 for 3. Charlie Blackmon, a good high school pitcher in his native Georgia, drafted in fact as a pitcher by the Marlins. 28th round pick, decided to go to junior college instead. Wound up as a hitting star at Georgia Tech after an elbow injury. And that's a good example of why he blasts that one fun. Didn't even start hitting full time until his junior year at Georgia Tech, and he ended up hitting .396 that year. And was taken by the Rockies in the second round of the draft. And that's why at the age of 28 he's considered something of a late bloomer. Actually just turned 29 the other day, yesterday. The fly ball out to Peralta coming in. And that ends the 8th. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 7-1.
Our special VIP post-game analyst is Shea Hillenbrand, and Shea quickly a long time ago in the 6th inning with 2 outs, runners on first and third. Chip Hale sends Jeremy Hellickson to the plate. He doesn't come up with a hit, but how did he, well, give a gift to his manager in the next half of that inning?
Yeah, I believe Chip Hill had a difficult decision to make right there, sending Jeremy to the plate in the bottom of the 6th with guys on base, only up by 2 runs after Arenado made a huge error to give up those 2 runs. But I think the key thing in the situation there that brought Chip Hill out on top was, on the top of the 7th, Jeremy came out and shut down the Rockies 1, 2, 3, but the big pop out to left field by Arenado, who had a chance to redeem himself, but he didn't come through in that situation.
See, that's why we got our analyst guys. We'll take it after you're done. Diamondbacks Live right after the game with Shea Hillenbrand. Steve?
Great job, guys. You timed that out perfectly. As Rafael Betancourt, the new pitcher, all set to throw his first pitch here in the bottom of the 8th to Chris Owings. Good to have Shea Hillenbrand with us. I always think of him as a, as a Boston Red Sox. That's how it started out. Great Diamondback.
People in Toronto think of Blue Jay.
Yeah, sure. So Owings leads off. The 8th pitcher spot is up next. We'll see Danny Dorn. Betancourt just off the 15-day DL with vertigo. Came back about a week or so ago. Rafael Betancourt and Shea drafted by the Red Sox, in fact, the same season. That's a fair ball. CO's got extra bases here. It's a night of Diamondback doubles.
Down and got this breaking ball. That one is way down there, ankle high. Hooks it down that third base line. Past Arenado down into the left field corner. Already in scoring position here for the pinch hitter, Danny Dorn.
D-backs had 2 RBI doubles in the 7th. Tomas and Hill. Now Owings a leadoff double in the 8th, and it's Danny Dorn. Danny 5 for 28 with the Diamondbacks this year. Matt Stites will get an inning of work. It looks like he'll get the 9th. And he'll have his work cut out for him. Troy Tulowitzki, Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado. As Matt Stites gets busy down there in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Dorn ahead 2-0.
Not exactly a soft landing for Matt Stites, but yeah, he needs an inning of work.
Might as well be against some of the best in the business, I guess. They'll sharpen you up in a hurry. 2, 3, and 4. That guy knows where to sit. Now the question is, do you keep it or do you pass it to the row in front of you? It's a tough call. Now is he with the young lady in the same row? Is he talking to the young ladies in front of him?
Maybe they're all together.
Could be. Look at this. Technology is a great thing, isn't it? Two and two. Of course, in San Diego, we had a sort of similar situation. We sent Todd Walsh up there, and he ended up in the gas lamp district all night. That's right over our heads here.
Guy probably walked into the ballpark tonight, took a look at his ticket. Oh, geez, I'm in the upper deck. Oh, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, these seats aren't bad. Diamondback baseball just brings people together.
It does. It really does.
I don't know if the young lady in red would agree, but
fun at the old ballpark.
3-2. Danny trying to snap an 0 for 15 skid right here. Popped him up. That's going to stay playable for Arenado in foul ground. Fans, the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express presented by Cox Communications is sent to take you to a Diamondbacks game. Just stop by this month's participating Cox Solutions store at Tempe Marketplace, and you can enter for your chance to win 2 seats on the Fan Express bus. You get round-trip transport to the D-backs game on July the 18th. But you got to hurry up. Registration ends on Monday. For more information, visit foxsportsarizona.com. Nick Ahmed singled to lead off the ball game. He's 1 for 4. Betancourt had a little Al Raboski moment out there. He turned his back to the plate.
Put something in his pocket.
Yeah, something's going on out there.
I'm not sure what that was.
I mean, Ahmed had to stop and step out, and what's going on? I'm over here. Oh, to Tulowitzki. Theo moves up to third, 2 down now. Remember Al Raboski, the mad Hungarian. He would always, the great relief pitcher, would step off the mound and turn his back to home plate, get himself all fired up, and then slam the ball into his glove and walk up on the rubber. Betancourt kind of gave himself a timeout there. A.J. Pollock 2 for 4, a homer. A solo shot that tied it in the 6th. His 10th of the year. He singled and scored his last time up. Diamondbacks with 3 in the 6th and then 4 in the 7th. Got the Pollock homer. David Peralta. A 2-out, 2-run triple. And then in the 7th, 2-run doubles by Tomas and Hill.
That Tomas double you will see on some highlight shows tonight. No question about it. Betancourt, after all that fidgeting around, eventually throws a breaking ball in the inside corner for a called strike. And talking about Yasmani Tomas, one of the amazing things is how he can adjust his swing in the middle of a swing. This was in San Diego on the left. Went down and away, got that ball, actually down and in and got that ball, was able to keep that one fair. And the one on the right is tonight what looked like a knockdown pitch, and he hits it down the left field line for a double.
You hear hitters say all the time, talking about keeping your hands inside the ball. Is that what that is?
That certainly was. That's the best example you could possibly get for keeping your hands inside the ball.
Arenado tries to backhand that one. Owing scores to make it 8-1. He's got 2 gold gloves on the mantle already. 1 error here tonight. And now make it 2.
Once again, hit in the same spot of the glove, right down near the heel of the glove. And just trickles out the webbing. Can't find it quickly enough. He knows with AJ running, he's got no chance.
Wow, how about that? Nolan Arenado, 2 errors tonight. Of course, he had the error on the ball that Aaron Hill hit in the 6th inning with 2 outs. It kept the inning alive, and Peralta followed with a 2-out, 2-run triple. And this one allows a run to score as Chris Owings comes in from third to make it 8-1. And here's Goldie.
315 career starts for Nolan Arenado in the big leagues down there at third base. Only the 2nd time he's had a 2-error game, and both have come this season.
Goldie's been on base 3 times tonight, 2 singles and a walk. He scored a run. Right to Tulo. Scalzo puts the force on Pollock. That ends the inning. Diamondbacks add 1 more. They lead at 8-1 as we go to the 9th. See Ralph Kelso make an appearance in the Cox Gig Life High Speed Highlights, your Gila River game summary. Jeremy Hellickson goes 7 full innings. For the first time this year, he was terrific. 1 run on 3 hits, no walks. He had 6 strikeouts. D-backs open it up with 3 in the 6th and 4 in the 7th. They lead at 8-1 now in the 9th. And here's Matt Stites, his 2nd appearance this year. He battled elbow problems all spring long. Opened up the season on the DL, reinstated not too long ago. Troy Tulowitzki, Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado, 2, 3, and 4 in the Colorado 9th. Tulo so far 0 for 3. Hellickson struck him out twice.
Kind of an odd thing here. Tulo is in his stance and turns around and looks to the backstop before Stites threw the ball. I think he was checking to see if Dinger was back there.
Well, I can tell you that he wouldn't be because they're losing. If this was 8-1 at Coors Field, Dinger, he'd be in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, Dinger, the front-running mascot.
The Dinger mobile.
Todd's buddy. A little flare out to shallow left, and it drops in. Tulowitzki's got himself a base hit. I'm surprised that Todd didn't fly Dinger in for the series. You know, their buddies hang out all weekend, 4th of July, watch the fireworks.
It is a holiday, though. Dinger probably has more important things to do.
Todd, where is your boy?
Well, you know, Dinger predates this whole 4th of July thing. Remember, he's been around for, you know, eons. So
that's a fair point.
Every day's a holiday for Dinger. Let him be.
Never.
Just leave my people alone, will you please?
Carlos Gonzalez 0 for 3. Shift is on. Dinger, the front running mascot. Yeah, you never see Dinger when they're losing, only when they're winning. Likes to get himself in the background there. Everybody sees him.
You know, again, he does have a schedule. You know, he signs autographs, he meets with the kids, and
allegedly.
I have documents.
I admire your staunch defense.
I am just the man of the mascots. I'll defend all of them.
You're the front-running mascot.
Till I'm purple in the face.
I see what you did there.
Thanks.
You bet he went. Fielding Culbreth, the crew chief down there. Stick. Piece of that might have got Jim Reynolds behind the plate. Yeah, he got hit with a piece of wood, it looked like. Fortunately, Jim looks to be okay. I'll tell you a story about Jim Reynolds. He was selected to be a World Series umpire last year, and he and Ted Barrett were going to work the series. And of course, as soon as the regular season ends, they don't do the wild card and the division series. They sit out the umpires. So I went to a fall league game at Salt River, and I looked down the bullpen, and there's Jim Reynolds and Ted Barrett getting ready to work a World Series in a couple of days. They'd already got the call from Joe Torre, but they were standing in the bullpen on what was a night off for them, just watching guys throw pitches, standing right behind the catchers in the bullpen, just to keep that eye sharp, and, just stay in the zone or in the game, as it were. I thought that was a tremendous commitment.
Absolutely. I've told the story in the past. Ted Barrett, when the Diamondbacks franchise first got underway, Tom Brenneman, who was the play-by-play voice for the TV side, and myself and the Gubna had a meeting here at the ballpark, and Ted Barrett came in and talked about different rules and different ground rules here at the ballpark, just kind of getting us up to speed on things that we could look for during the season. And certainly he didn't have to do that, but Ted Barrett took his time to come to the ballpark and give us a little tutorial on some of the ground rules here at then Bank One Ballpark, now Chase Field.
Probably rode in on his motorcycle.
Yeah, probably did.
Boxed a few guys on the way in and then married a couple. He can do all those things, Ted Barrett. 1-2. He's an amazing guy. Cargo lines it right to Aaron Hill. Shift is on. They doubled off Tulo. Once again, Dr. Ed Lewis and the analytics department scores one for the D-backs. That's the third baseman making that play right there.
I'm going to have to ask Dr. Ed, how do you score that? I've put a line drive to 5, L5, and then 5-3 to complete the double play, but I put a little S right next to both of them, which means that the shift was on and Aaron Hill wasn't playing at third base when he made the play.
That seems to be the consensus among people that score games. I put a little asterisk, or you can put an S in a circle, something to indicate that the shift was on. But yeah, it is scored as a line out to third base, even though he hit it to the first base side of second. But that's the world we live in right now. So 0-1 now to Nolan Arenado. He's the last man standing for the Rockies, down 8-1, 2 outs in the ninth. Don't forget, same two teams tomorrow. Game 2 of the 4-game series. We'll have it for you on Fox Sports Arizona. Chase Anderson for the Diamondbacks, and Kyle Kendrick, who is 3-10, will start for the Rockies. Todd Walsh and Dinger will have, no, I'm just kidding. Shea Hillenbrand will have Diamondback Live post-game show. Have reaction from the clubhouse. Bob Brenly will chime in with his thoughts. As soon as our ball game is over. High fly ball, right field. The Osmani Tomas wants it. And the Diamondbacks take game 1 of the 4-game set. They beat the Rockies 8-1. With some timely hitting, and they took advantage of some Colorado miscues to put 8 runs up there. And they moved back